Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I've said on this platform that Zimbabwe is a failed state. It is a failed state. The country's economy has been in decline ever since the country's independence 45 years ago. And you would think that with the economy in such a terrible state, with millions of our people living in abject poverty, those in positions of power and authority will be doing something about it. On the contrary, I think this cartoon with Mnangagwa hiding in the bushes, setting a trap for blessed Geza, sums it all. Like it or not, Mnangagwa is preoccupied with three things. Number one, looting. Corruption has gone into overdrive ever since he got into power in 2017. So if he's not scheming about looting, he is trying to bribe, buy support from all sections of society, all the way from Povo, whom he tries to bribe with simple things like chicken, sapata chicken and chips. He has been inviting Povo, these people, to State House or meeting them at rallies and making sure that he feeds them with chicken and chips.
Tirimo mu State House chitodya chicken in
Kule.
kudya uko kwakaprofitwa kare nababa John ndokudya kwakanzi sapatina kudya kwakanaka kudya kundirozi tiripo paState House unogona kutofa usina kumbosvika paState House
Kutosunungurwa izvozvo kubva
asi siripo takatotsika mota dzedzi dzarikona iState House ndo patiri pamba penyika kunamata kwakanaka chipostori chakanaka sapatina tichidya zvedu kudya kwakanaka tiri kutodya pamasowe panapa but tiri kudya nyama imi mukwenyu hazviko asi tiri pano pamasowe paState House nhasi ndo patiri kunamatira nhasi tiri kudya nyama namata mwari uyu akanaka baba Johani wakauya nechinamato ichi kuvanhu vatema wakagona nokuti zvaitwa nevarungu chete asi nhasi uno tisu tiri kuzviita vana vabvudze popi hatina matei vakomana.
She's not bribing Povo, he's bribing chiefs, senior army officers, party leaders with cars and other trappings. And as you move up the ladder, you come to the MPs. They get a bit more. In 2023, before the 2023 elections, all MPs and senators got what was called a housing loan of US 40,000. And the payments were scaled up with deputy ministers getting 230,000 US dollars housing loan, judges 400,000 US dollars, and ministers 500,000. All these were bribes to make sure that Mnangagwa wins the 2023 elections. If the truth be told, the man has given up on reviving the economy and winning the confidence of the ordinary voter. Mnangagwa is no different from Mugabe. When Mugabe got into power in 1980, he was so sure that he was going to deliver mass prosperity with his scientific socialism. Gutsa ruzhinji, he would say repeatedly. The truth of the matter is, gutsa ruzhinji was just voodoo economics founded on spending your way to economic prosperity, which is, of course, nonsense. At the beginning, everybody had a piece of the cake soon after independence. The poor had their share, small piece, and it was graded going up, with the ruling elite getting 5-10 times the share of the poor. But as time went on, the ruling elite's appetite increased, and they demanded more. And so Mugabe had to give them more. And this was happening at a time when the economy itself was shrinking. And so the poor have ended up with nothing under the so-called Mugabe scientific socialism. And by the time Mugabe was finally put out of office in 2017, millions of Zimbabweans were living in abject poverty. Mnangagwa came in confident that he will revive the economy. He took great pride in telling the people Zimbabwe is open for business. He was so sure, cocksure, that he will revive the economy. Open for business, what has he changed? Zimbabwe had been in economic meltdown because it was a pariah state, ruled by thugs who were destroying the economy. When he took over, he changed nothing. The only change was the musical chairs, where Mugabe was removed for him, Mnangagwa, to take his place, and a few of those around Mugabe were booted out to be replaced by Mnangagwa's own cronies. Nothing changed. The investors who were targeted with the Zimbabwe's open for business mantra were not fooled. They knew Zimbabwe was still a pariah state. Nothing had changed. And so none of the investors came in. If anything, the economic meltdown got even worse because corruption under Mnangagwa has gone into overdrive. Mnangagwa has since given up on reviving the economy. That is the truth. He is now concentrating on looting and setting traps for his political opponents, including those in the opposition and within Zanu PF itself. To stay in power, he wants to impose himself. He will use brute force to stay in power. He will continue to rig elections. This is the reality that the people of Zimbabwe have got to deal with. Mnangagwa rigged the 2023 elections and makes no apology about it. He insists that the elections were free, fair, and credible, and dismisses reports saying that the elections were not free, fair, and credible, even from our own regional body, SADC, and our own continental body, AU. Here he is speaking after the 2023 elections.
Vana vakatuka Zanu PF kana ini ndonyanyisa kufara kuita zvakanaka. Ukavona vavengi vakwashi kurumbidza unenge uchikanganisa. Ukavona vachiti Zanu PF yakaipa farai. You are doing correct things for your country. Hongu takaita maelections edu kuna vamwe vaitaura zvisina musoro zvikanzi maelection anofamba zvakanaka ndezvavo.
That is the tragic reality of Zimbabwe. Mnangagwa is determined to stay in power by rigging elections. He's not going to allow the people of Zimbabwe to have a meaningful say in the governance of the country. And as long as we are stuck with a corrupt, incompetent, and tyrannical dictatorship, nothing will change. The tragedy, however, is that we are not really stuck if we put our heads, if we put our thinking cap on. Because in the last 45 years, the nation has had many opportunities to end the Zanu PF dictatorship. The most notable was during the GNU of 2008 to 2013. The number one task of the GNU was to implement the democratic reforms to stop Zanu PF rigging the elections. Why, after 5 years, not even one token reform was implemented speaks volumes of the breathtaking competence of the opposition. Where still there are many Zimbabweans out there who still do not understand what the GNU was about. Much less understand that the opposition sold out. And so we are stuck with an opposition that is corrupt and incompetent and utterly useless. And yet people continue to follow that opposition in the hope that things will change. The Greeks were right when they say that democracy only works if the people who have been entrusted with the power are educated, knowledgeable, objective, and diligent. The Zimbabwe electorate, most of them, are naive, ignorant, and they're easily conned. They've been conned to participate in flawed elections, even when they've been warned that participating in those flawed elections will only give Zanu PF legitimacy. And yet they've participated again and again and again to give Zanu PF legitimacy and perpetuate their own suffering. If we are serious about ending Zanu PF dictatorship, we have to understand what's going on. We, the people, have to be educated. It is not rocket science to understand that participating in flawed elections will give Zanu PF legitimacy. We just have to make the effort. And if we don't, Chamisa will con people to participate in 2028 elections and give Zanu PF legitimacy and perpetuate the dictatorship. Think about it. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.